Hello everyone, this is the introduction part. I'm going to talk about three of the Victorian child safe standards that are paramount to early childhood education and care. These include Standard 2 on leadership and governance, Standard 5 on diversity and equity, and Standard 7 on complaints processes. These standards assist us to allow us not only to comply with the law, but also to provide a way to construct cultures where children are safe, stay respected, and have power. The Commission for Children and Young People notes that these updated standards were informed by national recommendations so that child safety would become both embedded and visible throughout daily practice. Today, I intend to discuss how these standards can be critically put in practice rather than being implemented in order to conform. Now, moving towards the third slide, that is leadership, governance, and culture. Standard 2 is concerned with integrating child safety in the service leadership and culture of the service. In many cases, leadership in early childhood education and care is misinterpreted as logistics management or compliance management, whereas the true meaning of leadership in early childhood education and care is to model ethical behavior and allow other people to feel empowered. As Monash University explains, a leader should be able to push a proactive culture instead of assigning tasks alone. The role of shared decision making and trust building as the key element of family centered care are also demonstrated by McCarthy and Gwynn. The bad news is that a lot of services still regard compliance as a checklist. According to the Commission for Children and Young People, however, safety should not be expressed only in the writings of the services, the policy, but in the actions of the staff. What we require is a leadership with flat hierarchies and the modeling of openness, where not just children, not just families, but educators as well feel comfortable to state what they think and be heard by others. Now, moving towards the slide 5, that is diversity and equity. As Standard 5 reminds us, equity does not only require us to celebrate difference, but to make every effort to end barriers to inclusion of some children. Commission for Children and Young People demonstrates the need to consider various needs, including cultural and linguistic, neurodiverse children when delivering the services. Nevertheless, as Rad and Reed's claim, far too often services experience the so-called service inclusion where differences are simply noted without actual integration. Real equity implies that there is a sharing of power among families who are included in the decision making, the enrollment system, and the staff given to the community. Create also draws attention to the fact that traumatized behaviors resulted in the poor understanding of children in care. According to McCarthy and Gwen, the co-construction of goals with families is often able in order to get inclusive results. Equity work is not reactive, but it work should be integrated into all we are doing. Now moving towards slide 7, that is child-focused complaints processes. Standard 7 has everything to do with letting children and families raise their voices and be listened to. Overzealous parents have a habit of thinking that young children are too small to complain, when in reality there are many different ways to lodge a complaint. Withdraw, silence, difficulty in behaving, create, suggests visual means of implementation, such as ceilings, walls, and safe spaces to encourage the expressions of concerns without being a tall order. According to NHRI and UNICEF, two complaints processes should be not only reactive but also participatory, preventive, and inclusive. It is not sufficient to have a complaints form, as McCarthy and Gwen say. It is trust and follow up which makes children and families feel that they were heard. According to Monash University, services should audit their documentations as well as accessibilities and responsiveness of their processes in general. As child safe, we should not fear complaints, on the contrary. Now moving to rational safety, standard 2, leadership sets the tone for safety, play a critical role in creating a safe environment for children. If leaders actively model and promote child safety, the rest of the staff and systems are more likely to follow. Leadership influences workplace culture, sets priorities, and allocates resources towards safety practices. Effective leadership must visibly support and prioritize child safety through their words, actions, and decisions. Standard 5. Equity fosters genuine inclusion and respect. True safety includes being inclusive and equitable, ensuring every child feels heard and respected. Children from diverse backgrounds, example cultural, linguistic, ability, must feel they belong. By embedding equity into daily practices, organizations ensure marginalized voices are not overlooked. Safety isn't just physical, emotional and social safety come from feeling valued and included. Standard 7. Complaints processes empower child voices. Systems must allow children to express concerns or report problems in a way that feels safe and accessible to them. Children often fear not being believed or fear irrationalization. Child-friendly complaint systems make it easier for children to speak up, encouraging open communication and trust. Empowering children to share concerns reinforces that their voices matter, which builds trust and transparency. Ongoing process, child safety requires continual commitment and effort. Child safety is not a one-time policy or checklist. It needs consistent, evolving attention. No new challenges and risks emerge over time, requiring continuous review of policies, staff training, and organizational culture. Safety is a journey, not a destination. Everyone must remain committed long term. Cultural change. Advocates for children drive systemic transformation. True lasting change happens when child safety is embedded in the organization's core culture, driven by child advocates and practitioners. Practitioners that are teachers, counselors, and caseworkers must become change agents, advocating for improvements and challenging systems that don't prioritize children's well being. Systemic changes require more than compliance. It needs people who are passionate and proactive about child rights and safety. In conclusion, this framework urges organizations to move beyond procedural compliance and toward a rational model of safety, where children feel safe because they are included, heard, valued, and supported by committed adults. It emphasizes leadership, equity, empowerment, consistency, and transformation as pillars of a child's safe environment. Now, these are my references related to my speech and documentation. Thank you, everyone.